Well, good morning. I'm here on Lake Washington. Isn't it beautiful? It's a little cloudy today, but might get sunny later here in Bellevue, Washington. We're at that time of year where you just never know what we're gonna get in terms of weather. It could be gorgeous, it could be cold and rainy, and it might change within a couple seconds. So still, it's very pretty out here. We might get visited by some ducks and seagulls. We're actually pretty close to Puget Sound. So we're in the fourth week, I believe, of our Faces of Our Faith series. And today we encounter the story of Deborah. And to do that, we're going to need a little history lesson because most folks don't remember the story of Deborah. It's in the book of Judges, which, if you can't remember, it's Joshua, Judges, Ruth, just like the Lyle Lovett album. But so to set the context, this is after Moses. Moses led the people through the wilderness, but didn't get to the promised land, and Joshua takes over. And Joshua is a strong leader, helps organize the tribes into their regions. And then Joshua dies, and what follows for the 12 tribes of Israel is a tumultuous time where they don't have super strong leadership. They're not terribly united, and they are beset upon by different outside nation states like the Canaanites and Moabites and Ammonites and a lot of the ites, right? And so Deborah is one of the judges, and this is chapter 4 of Judges. And when we think judge, don't think of like somebody sitting in a courtroom. A judge was kind of a political power, and that kind of stuff. So they had social capital, political capital, and they were kind of in a prophetic role. So it's hard to she had some power. And there's a really interesting part to this story. This text has a lot of nuance to it. Number one, Deborah was way ahead of her time. The fact that we had a female in power is very rare in the Old Testament and New Testament days. But what's really interesting is that she's talking with Barak and sends Barak out to get ready to wage war on the Canaanites, and he says something like, "I'm not going to go unless you go with me," and she says, "I will accompany you," even though that is a very funny role for her to play. So Deborah tells Barak that she will go with him, that she will accompany him in this striving for deliverance. And it made me think about the ways and places that we can accompany people, where, there's a lot of folks in this world, and I would say just about everybody in our communities, in our families, who are looking to be saved from something, who have their own fights, their own battles that they're fighting. And while we can't solve people's problems for them, we can absolutely accompany them to make sure that they know they're not alone, to help pick them up when they're knocked down. And that could play out in a lot of ways. I mean, our COVID kids, our youth today, have a huge rate of mental illness, and they need us to accompany them as they learn to deal with this. We're not post-COVID, but to learn what it means to function in society and, in a world that's very different from it was 4 years ago. There's people who are on journeys of sobriety and that kind of thing. There's people who are closeted in their sexual orientation, who are afraid to come out. There's all sorts of things. There's people on journeys of indebtedness where they're trying to get, everybody, there's kind of a cliche, but everybody is fighting some sort of battle. And I think one of the greatest gifts that we can give one another is to go with one another, to walk beside people as they struggle with this kind of thing. It's not, there's an osprey. Sorry, I get distracted by wildlife. That is very cool. And if I turn the camera around, it'll just be a little black dot in the sky. So maybe my struggle is attention span, right? It's like, But I think this Deborah passage is really instructional that part of what Deborah does is get out of her comfort zone. Like, I don't think being somewhere where a battle is about to be fought is probably in her wheelhouse, and yet she goes. And that's important for us as well, that as we think about accompanying people, we realize that it might take us places like AA meetings and into jail cells, hopefully visitation, and courtrooms, and who knows, doctor's appointment. Part of being an ally, part of being there for people means that we have to be willing to go and not just be comfortable in our pews and in our couches. But that's our call. That's our call of faith, right? Is to accompany people, to go with them so that they can be on a journey of healing, a journey of wholeness, a journey of grace, and a journey of peace. So short message today, but an important one. Keep an eye out for the people in your life who need you to walk with them. Simple, but powerful and important. So peace be with you. I hope your day is sunny and bright, sunnier than this, but it's still lovely. And shalom to you. Bye.